Hello friends, welcome to Squared Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be doing a flip through of my January after the pen spreads here in my catch-all Frankenplanner. I'll talk a little bit about my planner setup, but if you would like to see more about how I set up this planner, I do have a video on it, which I will link down below in the description, as well as all of the main parts, inserts, things that I'm using in this planner down below in case you see something that catches your eye. I will be going through 3 of the 4 planners that I have in here, as well as a little bit into my yearly planner setup. I'll also talk a little bit about my sections and go briefly over my setup, but for the most part this is going to be showing you guys how I'm using my planner and how the month of January went. So if that sounds good, let's jump in. Okay, so if you've never seen my planner setup before, I DIY'd this cover and did a video on it if you kind of want to see how that was done. I have it on expander rings from the Happy Planner, which are 1.75 inches, and I keep a month to 2 months at a time of each of the individual planners that I use in here. So that's what you'll see. I'll quickly go through the setup. Like I said, I'm not going to go into much detail, but I'll show you guys how it is set up. I have a sticky dash here at the front with a pocket, which I DIY'd, along with this pen loop I DIY'd and my friction metal barrel pen. Then I have my 6 sections that I use here on the side to divide up my planner into the major areas that I work out of. This first section is my inbox planner, or my inbox section, and I have a DIY dashboard at the front of that as well. Then I have my getting things done inbox in there, which I use to organize tasks that aren't ready to be scheduled really. And then we have my goals section, which again, I have another dashboard. And then I DIY'd my goals setup again this year for 2025. So I have my cover page here, my annual vision board, and my quarterly goals here set up. There are individual videos all on that if you want to know more. Then we have my productivity section, which in here I have another dashboard. I have my morning routine set up along with my weekly time blocks. This I've revamped a little bit to better serve me as a master schedule. I redid some of the tabs and defined some focus days here at the top. So I use this when I'm doing my weekly planning to get started on how I should schedule out my week. And then I make adjustments as needed per week. So I have that. And then I have my block schedule on the back here, which is just a more loosely defined schedule for each day in case I need a less regimented plan for the day. Next, we have my Kanban board, which I did a video on that as well. This is to help me set up my portfolio site, which will happen at some point. And then my next major section here is my collection section, which is new to my planner. And I have another dashboard. And in here, I have my reading journal, if you will, or planner. And I did a setup video on this. I have been filling it out. So there are some entries in there. And then I also have some series and movies and TV inserts in here that I still need to decorate and figure out what I want to do with. So those I've been keeping up with. I check it once a week, I would say, and fill it out as I feel the need. So that's been going pretty good. Hopefully I'll have an update maybe like every quarter on the progress in that section. Okay, so now we're into my schedules. Here I have another dashboard, and this is where we're going to spend most of the time in this video. So the first section in my schedules section is my year planner. And I call it my year planner because it has its own set of tabs specifically for these annual pages, but it's technically just annual pages, no weekly or monthly pages for the most part. Actually, I take it back. There's some monthly pages, but you'll see why it's here in the year planner. So I use my top tabs to navigate through my planner each morning. So Any of these pages here are usually things that I need to touch or have quick access to each morning when I do my daily kind of planner fill in and tracking and everything. I'm using inserts from my Etsy shop for pretty much all of the planners that you're going to see in this section. This first part here is just an annual year at a glance with this important dates and holidays insert I gave away for free during the planner move-in video. And so I just have that on vellum layered in here with these year at a glance pages, which I don't really reference that often. So the first real tab that I have in this section is my future log tab. This is vital to my planner setup, mainly because it helps me plan out a year in advance without keeping the individual months and weeks together in this planner. So this is like my master plan of events, appointments, things that are going to come up, things I need to remember. And then I migrate those each month into their individual planners where I see fit. I did do a setup video on this last year, so for 2024, and I'm using the exact same setup this year, so nothing new has changed. But I show you how I use these washi dots and this key to color code and organize this section. So that's my first tab, and my second tab is actually my work schedule, which I'm going to skip over, but this is the layout that I'll be using for my work schedule, which is just a perpetual calendar, again, from my shop. And I use this to mark in major due dates and project milestones that I need to hit for my freelance design business. Next, we have my yearly habits pages, and I do access this every day. So I pretty much keep track of some self-care items, just trying to keep up with my own, personal hygiene and well-being. So keeping up with that through this habit tracker system has been really great. I used it last year and I'm using it again this year and really liked it. The last pages in this yearly planner are my year memory keeping monthly. Now, I change this out every month, but I kept it here just because this is the only kind of setup that it worked well in. It's got a monthly spread and a currently, and that's it, no weekly pages. So it fit really well here. I just put the tab and check it every day so that I can fill it out and keep up with it on a daily basis. So this was how the January setup turned out. I really loved this color scheme and I loved the theme being kind of winter fun, and it really turned out cute. I have been trying to keep it down to just a highlight each day for my memory keeping, and for the most part I think I'm doing pretty well with that. I usually will use black with some other marker color to match up with the theme, and so I did that this month and really liked how it turned out. I've added in some lettering in some cases, some doodling occasionally, and just trying to make it cute and fun. So that's how it all turned out. And on the back, I have been starting a somewhat full-fledged currently page, whereas last year I was just doing the media that I was consuming, like reading, watching. This year I've expanded a bit more and really love how this turned out as well. What I ended up doing for the month is penciling in things first, and then as the month ended, going back and inking it in to make it permanent in case there were things I wanted to add as the month progressed. That worked out really well, I think, for the most part. So you can kind of see how that turned out, and I'm really happy with the result. So this is all set. I can actually take this out now that we've done the flip through, and I will put that into its own planner setup, which I didn't pull for some reason, but it has its own year planner where I'm keeping track of this memory keeping section, and that's where I keep the inserts for the upcoming months and where I put the past months as well. February is already in here with its tab, so we are set to go there, and we will move on to the next planner, which is my faith planner. So my faith planner, again, inserts from my Etsy shop. All of this will be linked down below, so faith planner, I have it broken down by the individual inserts that I'm using. For my faith planner, I do a theme setup for the entire month, so everything will look the same and cohesive for the weekly and the monthly pages. I use this kind of icy blue and minty green color scheme throughout, which I thought was really fun, very perfect for wintertime. I am using this setup here, my faith overview setup, to have a prayer list for the month. I also have my habits that I track every morning that I do in this planner. Over here, I have the monthly check-in, basically spiritual check-in that I fill out as well. And then sometimes I do a monthly verse. I didn't do it for this month, but I probably will for February. We'll see. I don't know. Trying to simplify my life a little bit, so I may or may not keep that up. So the next spread is just a plain monthly spread, and here is where I track my daily Bible reading. So I go through the Bible once a year, and as I do that, I track the chapters that I read each day, and then I do what I call my takeaway, which is just a little snippet of application from the reading that I can dwell on and kind of purpose towards my life. So this is how it turned out. I really liked it. I ended up adding some stickers on the days that I missed just because it looked a little bit empty, and I liked how that turned out. So here's the first week. I'm using my quadrant layout from my shop for the weeklies, and I basically use this to letter in the verse of the day that is fed in through the Bible app called YouVersion. I'll try to link that down below as well in case you're interested, but that's where I get my Bible plan from, as well as the verse of the day. It's just auto fed in, and then I write the verse in some kind of lettering that I feel fits the verse and the meaning. I kept the mint green and the icy blue throughout, alternating each day, although it's kind of hard to tell on this one because I missed a couple of days, but you'll see that go throughout. So here's a nice full week, and you can see a little bit better the alternating days of the colors. I do have a Bible lettering series if you want to know more about how I approach my Bible lettering and how you might too, just to help increase your lettering practice as well as your spiritual growth. And here is the next week. I did miss a couple of days in this planner, mainly because I was feeling out my schedule and it was a little bit difficult to kind of manage some things, specifically because I had a vacation week planned kind of near the end of the month, and I was trying to do a lot of things ahead of schedule, so just ran out of time a couple of these days. And here is the last, well, nope, it's not the last week, the second to last week. I ended up doing the very last week of 2024 in here, so that was the first week that you saw. So there are 5 weeks in here for January. So here is this last week. I am filming this on Sunday, so there will be some spreads that are incomplete because I'm still working through them, but this planner is all set and done. This one was a little bit weird. I tried to make a teardrop, but the angle of it was a little bit weird, so you can just see that's just a little bit awkward. Otherwise, everything else is good, and I had fun, trying some different things. I need to do a little bit of research on flourishing. I really want to add some of that to this planner for 2025, but I just haven't had time to look into it very much. The very final page in this planner is going to be for my little Bible plan from the littlefaithblog.com. I found this at the end of last year and thought it would be a really good way to utilize this back page for some extra spiritual time, but not too stressful. So what I've been doing is keeping up with the extra readings. So if you see a check mark, I did the reading, and then anything that I actually did on top of that, I highlighted. So sometimes she has us listening to music, and I did subscribe to her playlist, but I did not actually listen to any of the songs this month. Like I said, it was a little bit of a crazy month. But they had that, and then she also, like pretty much every other day, has a little project that you can do related to your spiritual growth. So the ones that I was able to achieve, I highlighted. That was pretty good. I really liked the, ready to go format, and I think I will continue this throughout 2025. So that's the end of my faith planner. I'm going to go ahead and move that out now, and then we'll talk about this little extra cleaning schedule I have in here. So basically what I do, like I said, is I keep the planners set out individually. So this is technically my faith planner solo, but it's more of a storage planner. And in it, I just have some dividers that I DIY'd, some random discs I have in my stash and cover. And I really just use this to store the inserts for the year. I don't get in this planner more than maybe once or twice a month, so I'm not actively using it. It's really just a storage planner. So I have my faith set up for February already in here, and actually move this to where it will be. Now I need to reset it. But I wanted to show you guys how I'm using this in case you've never seen that as well. So I'm borrowing this tab to make sure that I look at this every day because I only have a single page spread, if you will, on the end of my faith planner. So I have a tab there, so I make sure that I touch this every day, but then there's just an empty space, which would normally just look at this cover page for the next planner. But to utilize it a little bit better, I've added in this cleaning schedule to make sure that I'm looking at it daily and keeping up with those tasks. So for January, this is how it turned out. I just use a Sharpie ultrafine liner and reset it every month, and then as I go through, I will check off the items that I achieve. So it's a really good way to low maintenance, clean, and keep up with your household chores. I DIY'd this as well and laminated it so that it can be used over and over again. And then on the back, we have my spring cleaning list, which is more of those annual or biannual tasks to do for your household upkeep. Okay, so now we're on to my health planner, and again, inserts from my shop. So I did do a slight bit of decorating in here just with a little bit of washi and mainly with a marker using color to kind of help bring some life to these spreads. This first one is a custom spread with a step tracker and a habit tracker. Not available as is in my shop, but I do have individual step tracker setups and habit tracker setups if you want them separated. But if you want something like this together, you can reach out to me on Etsy and I can talk about quoting you on a custom item. Over here we have my fasting hours tracker. I do 1 meal a day fasting for the most part, and I like to keep track of how that goes, just depending on the month or the week. I may do a little better or a little worse, and I am always at the goal of getting 20 hours or more each day of fasting. So any time I hit that mark, I highlight it in blue, and if I end up not hitting that mark, I leave it, but I still like to know how the day went. So this was the month of January. I also use this section over here, this note section, to mark my start fasting and end fast times because I usually go overnight. Makes it a little easier for me to calculate the time. And then when I start eating is when you see the first dot on the line, and then when I stop eating is the last dot on the line. The dotted line in between is time where I wasn't eating, but I ended up eating later in the day, so I don't count that for my fasting hours. So here's how I am using the monthly this year. I went back to a monthly spread just because I was feeling a little overwhelmed with the amount of tracking I was doing last year for my meds and supplements, which you'll see what I ended up doing this year near the end of this planner. And so this one, I ended up just kind of pre-planning my workouts for the week and then keeping track of my protein intake, since one of my goals is to try to increase my protein And then I also wanted to make sure I was doing the things that I had set out to do as far as workouts. That kind of helped. I will say that seeing it here on the schedule helped me keep in mind what I wanted to get done, like extra workouts and progressing that way. It didn't always work. I have a lot of ones that are not highlighted. If they're not highlighted, I didn't do them. So if I did them, pre-planned it, and if I did them, I highlighted them. If I didn't do them, I just left it blank. So again, this was how it turned out, and I liked the setup here. I did try to do another strength training plan. Oh, you guys, I don't know. My anxiety about going out on the gym floor just has overwhelmed me. So I have the best laid plans, but it just has not happened. So we're going to try to reset for February and see if I can make some progress. So for the weeklies in this planner, I'm using a lined vertical layout. I also decorate the weeklies individually in both my health planner and the next planner we're going to go through, which is my agenda planner. So each one will have its own unique theme, but the monthly pages are all themed out in the same color scheme and style. So for New Year's week, I ended up doing a very New Year's-y spread using some Anna Bean stickers and some Happy Planner stickers, I think. I got sick pretty much right at the start of the new year, so I ended up really not utilizing the workouts very much in this planner. It wasn't a stellar week by any means for health and wellness, but it is good to just kind of see what happened and track, my progress, and just to have that information so I can understand what went right, what went wrong for the month, and how to make adjustments. So I reset and did an It's a Perfect Time to Start up here, just because I knew I was going to have to start my new year here on the 6th since I was sick the previous week. And that actually turned out really well. I loved this theme, the colors and everything. Not very energizing, if you will, but I still loved the prettiness of it, and it definitely kept me engaged throughout the week. I have started doubling up some of my workouts, so I tried to accommodate that with the boxes. I also track my stats from my Apple Watch every day, and then my food log. I also started adding in the protein intake, same as you saw in the monthly here every day, and then I basically just transfer it to the monthly so I could see a month at a glance, and that worked out pretty well. I have started to track my food again, which gives me a lot of insight onto what I'm eating and how I need to improve. So again, I went through the whole month that way and didn't make any food changes, but for February, with the knowledge that I got from tracking, I'm making some adjustments to hopefully help me increase my protein and eliminate some sugar that I noticed that I have a lot of in my diet. So for the next week, I ended up doing this winter theme, and it turned out really cute. I have a lot of random Happy Planner stickers that I feel like don't all go together, so I tried to make these themes with those random stickers that I don't have a lot of. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but I like to have a full page of the same type of themed out sticker, and I feel like sometimes the Happy Planner sticker books just don't have that. So I gave it a go using some box stickers here along with clear stickers. I also added in some vintage sticker paper that I had from another booklet and just try to pull it all together. I also brought in these circle stickers, which I ended up adding more as the week went on because I did end up doing more workouts and filling those out. I track here in each of my workout sections the type of workout it was, the time spent doing it, and the active calories burned during that workout, just for information so I can kind of figure out how hard I worked during that workout. Somebody asked me about this, so I'll mention this. I've been marking thermo for anything that's thermogenic in nature, which is basically I wouldn't classify it as exercise, but it would burn calories. So light walking, not brisk walking, but where you're not super out of breath, would be kind of considered thermogenic. Same with deep cleaning. If you're really getting into it and sweating, then that would be counted as thermogenic. So that's another type of marker that I use aside from cardio to track certain things that I do that I feel like are worth noting health-wise. For the 20th to the 26th, I had a vacation week. I had my mom in town visiting me, so I didn't want to overwhelm myself with trying to keep up with the gym and everything. I just wanted to take some time and spend it with her. So I planned it out accordingly, and it pretty much worked out that way. However, I did injure my back like the day she arrived. I don't know what I did, and that put a little bit of a damper on our activities. However, we did have a good time nonetheless. And I decorated this fairly simply with some really nice stickers from Aesthetic Plans and some rainbow washi. And I think it turned out really pretty and colorful. And here's the week that we're currently on. I used some Dream Seeker stickers from the Happy Planner. And again, tried to plan out for those double workouts. And hopefully I will end this week on a high note, finishing out the week there with some kind of activity today, thermogenic activity. Loved the rainbow color scheme. Added some vintage washi just to complete the look, and I think it really turned out very pretty. So I'm going to leave this in here because I am still working through this planner. The last page on my health planner is my symptom overview setup, which is a hybrid of my meds and supplements tracker and my symptom overview tracker. I've pretty much set it up with the individual things that I ingest, meds and supplements here, severity of my symptoms that goes here, and then kind of a brief summary of how I was feeling each day just goes in each line. This one at the top I'm using for more of a summary of the overall month, just so I can get an idea of how the month went. So that is my health planner, and like I said, I can't quite move that out yet, but that is done for the most part, and I have everything in here for February. At the back, once again, I'm kind of utilizing this single page spread with this insert to have my annual health stats tracker here, along with my daily weights and my monthly measurements tracker, which is on the inside. I just basically flip this page to the back and put in my daily weight here. So as each day goes through, I can write that in. And I have it kind of paper clipped closed here since I don't normally share that information. And on the back, I've added this insert that I created a couple of years ago to remind me of the things that I can do to help me find my happy weight, if you will. I found this information, I think, on Instagram at the time, and I did do a setup video if you want to know, where I got it and how I set this up, but it just kind of gives you some healthy tips for nutrition and activity, training, and recovery. So it's just nice to have in here to reference, and you can see that's kind of where I got this idea of thermogenesis and the different types of things that would be counted as thermogenic. So anyway, that is my health planner for now, and these pages just stay in here throughout the year. We are on to my last planner that we'll go through, which is my agenda planner, and this is a setup of 2 separate inserts from my shop. I have the month overview set up here with some habit trackers and a to-do list for the month. And then over here we have my monthly scheduling setup, which is just a single page monthly. I also set up this planner with the weekly separate, but all of the monthly pages are set up in a specific theme, and I do a setup video every month kind of showing you how I approach that and how I set up the theme. So this has worked out pretty good, as you can see. I really liked this scheme for January, being a little bit brighter and funner for a winter month. The next spread is my monthly goals and weekly tasks spread. This one was also really good. I do like to do a setup video on my monthly goals every month. So you'll actually be seeing February's. It should have just came out previously earlier in the week. But this is how January's was. Been keeping it pretty low key for this first quarter just to kind of get back in the groove. I usually get really busy near the end of the year, so I kind of like to take a little time and not pressure myself too much at the beginning of the year. So I set up my monthly goals, and then I have the weekly tasks that help me kind of plan out how to incorporate those goals into my week. And again, if you want to know more, I do talk about it in those goal setup videos. And here's my first week in my brand new hourly dashboard layout that's in my shop. This was something I felt like I needed, and I have figured out a way to kind of make it work. It's a little tight, but it's very useful to have the weekly schedule here next to this kind of week at a glance with my tasks, so that I can, see what I need to do, mark it in, and then actually plan time each day to make it happen. So of course, this was the first week I was sick, so things didn't go to plan. You might see some, excess erasing in the background, because I probably made multiple changes that you can probably see a little bit ghosted in there. But for the most part, this has been working beautifully along with this setup. I'm using all the same techniques that I did in my horizontal here, kind of trying to keep a focus area on each day where it fits, along with some decor and then my checklist. So that's kind of how I approach the decor, trying not to overload it, but I do want it to be visually interesting so that I engage a bit more with my planner. I also have picked usually 2 colors for the week that I use just to add highlights here in the time slots, along with for bullet points and highlighting here on the dashboard page. And this I did do a plan with me on this very first week if you want to know more about these stickers and setup. For this next setup, I ended up kind of throwing it together, trying some different layouts just to see how I might be able to utilize these stickers on the spread without sacrificing function. So this time I did a column spread here on the dashboard side, which I thought turned out really nice. Loved the blue and the deep yellow color. I tried to match it up with the right highlighters, which I think this yellow was a little bit too bright, but everything else was perfect. The blue was great. And then I did a full week of time blocking since I wasn't sick. So that was really nice just to kind of get a visual of how to plan out my time and achieve the goals I wanted to achieve, and tasks as well. I also took the time to map out my work hours, because one of my goals is to limit my work hours to no more than 40 hours a week. Also to limit it to 5 days a week. And I could see I really did not stick with that, even though I tried. I do kind of count my AM routine as work hours, because I do a lot of social media in the morning, as well as some planner setup items. That's why you might see some variations there in this extra column, I guess. So I was trying to see how much that added on to my work hours, and it adds a significant amount. So I'm just going to try to eliminate those kind of excessive tasks and work towards simplifying my work week a bit more. So here's how the third week turned out. And again, trying out some different layouts with, decor, seeing where I can fit things in and make something that looks visually nice before the pen and after. And this one was really fun. I used these small village stickers from Plan Anything, added in some texture with these stickers from, I think, the Watercolor Goals Happy Planner, and then also did, kind of like tilted boxes for a little bit of extra interest, and washi tape. So again, kind of matching up the highlighter colors with the theme, and really thought this one turned out great as well. This was last week. I think, yeah, I have one more week. Again, kind of stuck with the blues and I think pretty much the same color scheme almost, just a different shades of tan and blue. But I really like these stickers, again, from Planning Thing. This just came out in her recent planner subscription box. And I really liked the theme and adding a little bit of extra texture with some splatter. That was super fun. No plan with me's on these, so if you see anything and you want more information, you could reach out in the comments. I'll be happy to give you the details. And this is the week we're in now. I wanted some different vibes because I was doing very soft florals and blues, and I just wanted something a little bit more, I don't know, just a little different. And so I went with these coffee house vibes, which I really liked. I'm a sucker for coffee. I always do coffee day spreads, and I love to bring in coffee rings and things like that into my spread. So this one was super fun. Again, trying out a different layout, this time just kind of utilizing the edge and seeing what I can make happen here, but again, still keep it functional. I'll probably do the work hours again down here just to get an idea of how this week went, since it was a pretty work heavy week and my vacation was the previous week, so just kind of seeing how I caught up and if there was a lot of overtime, if you will. But I really love this one as well. I think it's coming out really nice, and still working through a few things here for Sunday, but that's pretty much how it turned out. Finally, we have my social media spread, which also went through quite a few revisions here at the front, mainly to pre-plan for my vacation week and kind of coming off of a vacation week. Same monthly theme here. I track my social stats on this side along with the monthly and some weekly tasks that I want to achieve usually each week. And then over here is my social media schedule. For Instagram, these are my posts, and then my video schedule. So that is the end. I had planned to do a monthly review on this last page. I've just decided to scrap it. I have no time. So although I think it would be very useful, I just have not had extra time to do it. There's a lot to keep up with all of these planners, and so I am working on simplifying my life, and I don't want to feel overburdened by my planner. So this is one thing I was willing to let go, and so it's just going to remain blank, I think, for the rest of the year. And again, since I'm still working through this on the weekly, I will keep this guy in my planner, but as soon as the week's over, I'll move that out and continue on with February, which is already in here. So that's the last planner we're going to go through. I do have one more planner in here, which is my finance planner or budget planner, and I've kind of clipped it together, but basically I have a 4-tab system on this one as well, where I go through the individual pages every day and just check our budget and making sure everything is good to go. My last tab in my 6-tab side system is my reference tab, and here I have a dashboard again, kind of DIY'd, and then I have a 4-tab system on the bottom here for my long-term storage. The categories are personal, and then I have business, I have work, and I have social. And I basically just keep items in this section that are things I may need to reference and have at hand when needed. Lastly, we have another DIY pen loop with my 4-color friction pen on it, and another DIY sticky dash with the pocket folder, and some filler paper here at the back in my back cover. So that's it, you guys. A flip through of all of my completed January spreads. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch, and think about subscribing to my channel. you haven't already if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Bye!